C# 13 has been launched as part of the .NET 9 release. Here are the new features. The first one we'll have a look at is params collections. Traditionally, the params modifier in C# only supported arrays, but in C# 13 it supports a whole range of collection types, such as a span, a read-only span, and anything that implements the IEnumerable interface, such as a list. That's the one we're going to try out. We're also going to return the list. Now we're going to try it out. So we'll create a new variable called numbers, and we'll call our params collections read my numbers. We'll pass in 3, 4, and 5. Then we'll go through each number and output it to the console application. And that has outputted 3, 4, and 5 for us. There is a new lock object in C#. Traditionally, we'd create an object as a lock, then we'd use the lock statement, pass in the lock object, and add our implementation. But in C# 13, there is a new lock type. It comes from system.threading, and now that's using our new implementation. In this method, we called it entering my lock. We're outputting something to the console application before we enter the lock statement. And then inside, we're adding a bit more information. Now this should be exclusive to all the other threads, meaning that no other threads can go into the lock implementation at the same time. Let's test this out. So we're going to run that task a couple of times asynchronously. So we'll call task.run, and we'll call the new lock entering my lock. We'll run it 3 times and test it out. So that's been outputted to the console. Each of the threads is writing to this line first. And then it goes through each individual thread. So we've got thread 5, thread 7, and thread 8. It goes through and writes to the console in the lock statement. According to Microsoft, this type provides better thread synchronization for its API. If it uses the new lock object, it uses the updated API rather than the traditional API using system.threading.monitor. There is a new escape sequence in C#. Traditionally, you'd have to call \u001b. You could also call \x1b, but that wasn't recommended. But in C# 13, all you need to do now is call \e. More new features to come. To use C# 13, you'll need to download the .NET 9 SDK. To do that, you'll need to do a search for the .NET 9 SDK and click on the link. The SDK is available in Linux, Mac OS, and Windows. Make sure you install the SDK and not the runtime, as that is used on web servers. If you're updating Visual Studio, you should find that the .NET 9 SDK is automatically installed for you. To find out more about how you can update to .NET 9, watch my video .NET 9 has been released, how do you update at youtube.com/@roundthecode. There's also a link for it in the YouTube video description. And did you know you can use C# 13 without updating your application to .NET 9? We'll show you how to do that later in the video. Let's get back to the new features, and we'll continue with implicit index access. The from the end index operator, that's this symbol here, is now allowed in object initializer expressions. To demonstrate this, we've created a class called implicit index access. It has a numbers property which returns an array. The numbers property has an array length of 5. To test this, we're going to create the numbers property, and we're going to output some values. So the last one, so that's this symbol here, and then a 1, we're going to add as 5. The second to last one will be 4. The third to last one will be 3, and so on. We're now going to output each of these numbers into the console application. So we'll get each number in the implicit index access.numbers and output it to the console application. And that's outputted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so in reverse order. We're now going to have a look at ref and unsafe in iterators and async methods. Before C# 13, you couldn't declare a local reference in either an async method or an iterator, which is something that uses yield return. But in C# 13, you can do that. So in this example, we've got a myMessage string of empty. This is passed in an async method, this addMessage method. Then it's getting the myMessage, which is just a reference to the myMessage up here. then it's adding a message to the current message that says hello there. So the code for that is down here. It's passing a reference to the message. Then this is the part that's going to be added onto it, which is shown here. We can demonstrate this in the console application. We're going to output the message before the method is called. Then we'll call the add message, which is this part here. It will add the message to that reference, and then it will go ahead and output the final result. So it's empty at that point, and then after it's been called, it states hello there. Ref struct types can now be used as generic types and methods. We're going to create a new ref struct called isValid. And we'll create a property called valid within it. Next, we're going to create a new class, which we're going to call AllowsRefStruct. And we're going to pass in a generic type of tref. And we'll declare that tref allows ref struct. We'll create a new instance of the AllowsRefStruct class, and we'll pass in our isValidRefStruct type as the generic type. RefStruct types can now implement interfaces. Let's create a new interface. We can implement that as part of the isValidRefStruct. There are more partial members in C# 13 with the introduction of partial properties and indexers. For this to work, we've got a partial class. This is the declaration. So we're declaring a property here and an index here. We've then got another partial class, and this is the implementation. So we're adding the implementation here for the property and the implementation here for the indexer. You can use C# 13 methods even if you don't upgrade your project to .NET 9. Here's how you do it. Open up your CS_proj file. Notice that our framework is .NET 8. You can set the lang version to it, either to latest, latest major, default, or you can specify the version number, which is 13.0. Now there is a catch to this. Not all the features will work. You won't be able to use the new lock object, and the reason being is that the new lock object is only available from .NET 9 onwards. You also won't be able to use a ref struct as a generic type, as it's not supported below .NET 9. You also need to download and install the .NET 9 SDK onto your machine to use C# 13. That's even if you're not upgrading your project to .NET 9. A new .NET release always brings out new features. Watch this video next where you'll find out about some of the latest .NET features. And let me know in the YouTube comments which feature you're most likely to use. And if you want to download a code example for these features, go to roundthecode.com/examples.